Hi everyone, it's Anastacialy again, and I'm here today with the first episode of a new series called Tiny House Nation. I'm going to take a sim from the gallery and build them the tiny home of their dreams. So obviously this series is based on the awesome show of the same name on FYI, where they build real people, real tiny homes. If you can, I think you should check it out because it's absolutely my favorite building or home makeover type show out there. So, the tiny house I'm building now is for a sim called Lydia by one of my best friends in the world. She's under Off on My Own on the gallery, and she sent me this description as a request for the tiny house. After living exorbitantly in Twinbrook, Lydia Hurley is wanting to live simply, which means downsizing to a one-bedroom, one-bathroom tiny home with a snug yet functional living/study space and room for a double bed without a loft. Modern fixtures are a must. With a budget of $30,000, please help Lydia make her tiny dreams come true. So obviously after hearing that, or reading that, because she sent it to me in Skype, I was like, of course, absolutely, I definitely have to do it. It actually started out as a joke. She was just like, oh, if you're gonna do a tiny house thing, build me a tiny house. And I got kind of the idea from Little Simsy, who does a real show inspired series on The Sims called Fixer Upper, which is also really cool. You should you should definitely check her out too. I will put the link in the description. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna build a tiny house, and if I am going to do that, then I should do it kind of in the way that the show does, where obviously they're customizing it for a person. So I actually spent a long time on this build, but it doesn't quite show. Maybe it does. I spent a long time on it because I made custom photos. Because Lydia is kind of an aspiring photographer. She does a lot of things, but right now, according to my friend, Lydia is kind of interested in photography and kind of intimate photography, just like, you know, not just portraits, like more personal portraits, I guess you could say. So I really wanted to have her just have pictures around the place of like kind of tactile pictures and just photographs in big, black frames. So I spent a lot of time before I built the house having her photograph people. I downloaded her sim from the gallery, and I I added some other sims from the gallery. It's kind of a little joke that because her name is Lydia, she knows people from the show Teen Wolf, which I haven't watched in a while, but so I just put I put Derek and Styles, and I made her take pictures of them. So all around her house are pictures of Styles and Derek. So, surprise, because my friend's gonna watch this video, surprise, that's happening, but later, so I should have actually kept my mouth shut before that. So I'm working on the kitchen here, which is good. I'm working on the kitchen. I really like over detailing things. There was a build I was working on recently for my lovely fiance, and I over detailed that kitchen so much. Unfortunately, I did not film it because I think it's one of the best kitchens I've ever made. But I over detailed it. It was just every piece of interesting thing I could find, I wanted to put in that kitchen. So I was spending so much money on the kitchen, so it's a really expensive house now. Um, so I was trying to avoid that because there was a budget here, so I tried to put bare minimum to where it looks like she lives there, but it doesn't look like, you know, she has every single thing, and I also didn't want to go over the budget. Um, Even though my friend told me that she has been playing with Lydia so much, um, probably because she's so excited for this house to be built for her, obviously, that she's actually really rich now. But I kind of wanted to stay true to the tiny house, like the tiny house nation thing where they always have a budget. So, and it's like a pretty low budget most of the time because it's a tiny house. You know, you should be able to afford a tiny house for not much money. So I think the highest I've ever seen is $40,000 and the lowest was $20,000. So, oh, I'm sorry, simoleons. This budget is in simoleons. So I made it 30,000, even though she said she, you know, like, don't worry about the budget. But I wanted to kind of keep it on the cheaper side. Obviously, once she downloads this and puts it into her game from the gallery, you can find me under the hashtag anastacialy sims, and this will be under mini modern on my account. My actual account's name is The Last Love Bites because I share it with my fiance, so it wasn't my name. I'm sorry. So check the hashtag anastacialy or anastacialy sims. And if you want me to build your sim a tiny house, go ahead and tag it build me a tiny home and anastacialy so that I can see them and read their description just like I read Lydia's and see what I can do for you. So here I'm working on the bedroom, and this is where I start putting the beautiful photographs that I told you about earlier. Aren't they lovely? That one was just black and white of the two Sims holding hands. Just of their hands. I dabble in photography, so I'm a little proud of these pictures. Not all of them, but I do really like the hands one. I think it's a nice, very simple thing. And so the more casual photos are up in that little corner that is her new office space. And, yeah, so I kept the living room and office space separated, even though in her description it sounded like they could have been the same room, but I thought, you know, what's the harm in giving her a little extra space? I think this house turned out to be 8 by 9, 8 by 7. Let me count. Hold on. I think so. Of course, we do have the little bump out on the right side. If you're looking at it from the outside facing the front door, it's on the right. So, you know, for the shower, so you get a little extra room there. I would love to in the future make even smaller tiny houses, but Lydia, I feel like even though she's downsizing so much, she still needs room to spread out. Like, open floor plan, you know, just, there's room. There isn't clutter everywhere. It's very minimalist, it's very modern, so I wanted to give it just a little bit more space so that it can still feel kind of open and nice, even though it's really small. And I'm not sure if the footage has already been shown. I think it has. But I do not go with adding a loft. I thought, whenever I build something, I always think, oh, this is way too small, and so I make it like way bigger than I need it to be, even though I gave myself uh, a guideline of um, 10 by 10 in the middle of the lot, and I can't expand over that. So even like the little darts, they don't go out of the 10 by 10 space. I don't think. I think the porch might go out of it just a little, but other than that, I wanted the structure to still be tiny. This is still a tiny house, but it's not trailer style either. So this is a grounded tiny house, which you don't actually see all that often, but I love watching those episodes on Tiny House Nation, where it's not a trailer, because even though I totally love the idea of just like, it's a mobile home, it's a trailer, this tiny house is so tiny, you can drive with it on the highway. And that's so cool to me. But I really like seeing the tiny houses that have foundation, because they can play with it a little more. You know, they don't have to have the space toilets, and, um, they don't have to make sure it's not a certain height. Like, they can go taller, they can go... I mean, I really love tiny houses, but I love the fact that they can go bigger if it's not on a trailer, do you know? It's just... they can make them so much more. And even though there's tons of ways to save space, and they always look awesome no matter how small they get, because some get really small, it's still... I don't know, I like the ones that aren't on trailers, because I don't think I could handle, like, having to, every time I go somewhere new, I, like, hook up my house to other things, and, like, I don't think I could do that, but I love the idea of it. My apartment is way bigger than any tiny house will ever be, but I feel like maybe I could live in a tiny house as long as it was designed right, and, like, nice, and to where it still felt spacious, even though it's not really spacious. So I should just design my own tiny house and be done with it, shouldn't I? I have just rambled on, and now we are almost at, like, finishing details of this place. What? So yeah, I kept it simple, and I didn't do a roof design, which right now I'm actually regretting a little, because I think that adds a lot. But I wanted a flat roof for this one. That's what I pictured originally. So next time, you can, again, put a sim on the gallery and specify what kind of roof you want. I'd actually love to try other styles, like a trailer style one where it has to be really thin and really compact, and, like, maybe you don't need a double bed, like a functional double bed, so you can have a single bed for a single sim, or, like, you can squish it in the space just a little more. So this one, it wasn't exactly as tiny as I'm hoping to go later on in the series, but I really hope that you like it, and that she likes it, and that everybody likes it, because I worked pretty hard on this. Probably not the best work you could see. There are some amazing builders on YouTube who make just awesome tiny houses, and I'm inspired by all of them. So I'm hoping that with this series, I can get better at building small. And yeah, in The Sims especially, tiny houses just make more sense. Like, with if you have like an 8 sim household, of course you're not going to be able to have them in a like 10 by 10 space, obviously. But I think if you're playing two sims or one sim and just like they're they just need one bedroom and one bathroom, like technically they would only ever need one bedroom and one bathroom. It just makes a whole lot more sense to me personally to have a smaller space for easier gameplay. Um so I'm just finishing up with some landscaping here, and I kept it pretty simple again because I was thinking about the um, budget and how I didn't want to go over the budget. And yeah, even though she can technically afford whatever house she wants now, I hope she buys and enjoys this tiny house. Again, for Lydia Hurley, I will do anything for um and so yeah, I hope gosh, I'm awkward. Okay. I hope that you've enjoyed. We're coming up on the screenshots now. I hope that you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.